Hello, welcome to Lord Havoc's Marvel Champions custom content extravaganza. I didn't say the word streaming because we are not streaming. This is, in fact, another episode of the Creator Spotlight series. Man, I love doing these. Absolutely love doing these. This is a pretty momentous one. It's my second only ever three-way. And it's important that we do it this way because the two creators that I've got are sort of a creator partnership, and between the two of them, they've made some pretty amazing stuff. Now, I checked before we started recording on how to properly pronounce these names, so let's do it. This is confirmed. This is how you do it. I'm very proud to introduce Diellan and Ruyvn. How are you doing, gentlemen?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all. Excellent. Thank you very much. I know it's late where you guys are, so thank you very much for taking the time to join me for this. I'm pretty excited, as you can probably tell. So let's get into it. I really want to dive in deep into your stuff. So let's start with Diellan. If you wouldn't just mind introducing yourself and sharing some sort of interesting factoids about yourself.
Okay, hi, I'm Diellan. Yes, people get confused about the online name because it's spelled Diellan. That's just an old internet nick of mine for fantasy authors and how they misspell names to make them sound weird. So I did that ages ago, and it's always been available. So that's me.
Awesome.
I am a software developer. In the streaming sphere, actually, and
Cool.
but I've been doing this for 20 years now, that is being a software engineer.
Wow.
More than 20.
When you say the streaming sphere, you mean streaming movies and TV shows and stuff?
As in, I work for a company called Stream Elements that some people may have heard of.
Oh my god!
If you do
Wow.
anything on Twitch, yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. So that's
Wait, you know what that is?
what I do for a living.
I actually know what that is. That's very cool.
Good.
Yeah, that's very cool. Awesome. Jeez.
Yeah, so that's me. I currently am living in Massachusetts because my wife is studying at Harvard.
Oh my god.
So I'm
Harvard.
for her PhD.
Dude, I actually now feel
Very proud of
incredibly inadequate talking to you. I feel really weird now. That's amazing. That is
Don't worry, you'll be okay.
Congratulations to both you and your obviously very talented wife. That's amazing stuff. All right, well, Ruvyn, can you match or beat that? Your turn.
I'm Ruvyn. I'm what you call between jobs. I'm just a huge nerd who loves this sort of thing. Diellan and I have been friends for 20 years? For 20? Yeah, like 20 years now. We were guildmates, and then even after leaving City of Heroes, we continued to hang out all the time, play Dungeons and Dragons, do online board games,
Cool.
that sort of thing. And even so, he's not actually from Massachusetts, and he was nowhere near here when I met him. But I'm here born and raised, so now that he's here, we hang out when we get the chance.
That is amazing. Well, let me just get this straight. So, Diellan is moved to Massachusetts for his wife, but you actually met before then online and were friends, become friends, but you are now actually in the same geographical region, so you can actually hang out.
Yes.
It's like a Hollywood story. It's like I feel like we're living a Hollywood dream. Like it's amazing. All right, awesome.
I mean, the Hollywood dream is he wouldn't have the wife.
Let's move on. She's amazing. She's at Harvard. She doesn't need your approval.
She's brilliant.
She's obviously already brilliant. It's fine. Cool. All right. Well, there you go. Awesome. Where do we go from here? Let's get into Marvel Champion stuff. I've got your table up on the screen, obviously, for the video. And I've got to do a quick tour. You know, I'm a big Star Trek fan. And one of the favorite thing for fans is when they do like beauty shots of the ship, because the ship is its own character, right? And so the motion picture's got a special. It's like a 7-minute sequence. It's like 7 or 9 minutes of like touring the Enterprise.
Don't get me started on that.
It's amazing.
Look,
don't pick on it.
I will apologize for the Search for Spock.
No,
I love Star Trek V, but the motion picture, and it's spending far too much time on this.
dude, we've only just started the chat. Don't pick on Star Trek, because I'll have to just end it. I'll just say end it. I can't do that.
No, you misunderstand. We're both massive Trekkies.
Oh, thank God. Okay, thank God.
You have the DS9 earlier today.
Thank God for that.
Yeah,
the whole tone would have shifted.
Yeah, separately we've done full watch-throughs of DS9.
Awesome.
My wife and I are also huge fans. We watch it together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Good. Let's move on from there before something bad gets happened. So what I'm going to do is a fly through of your table, because it is just absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to zoom out. Look at this beautiful, beautiful table, and then we're going to sort of move around a bit. It looks like something out of Trek, which is why I think it's appropriate. It's just unbelievable. I'm doing
Do you know what this actually is?
No. Should I know? Have I ruined my nerd card?
I don't know. No, because they change the model every game.
Oh.
But this is Final Destination.
Final Destination? The horror movie?
No. As in 1v1 Fox only.
What?
Yeah. This is the model used for one of the games, one of the Smash Brothers Final Destinations maps.
Oh, see, I have no idea about that. The only time I ever played Smash Brothers, all right, here's an embarrassing fact I would for you, is I've only ever played it twice in my life. And both of those times I got beaten by a 5-year-old. And so I decided, hey, I thought I was pretty good at video games, but this 5-year-old has just annihilated me. And I never want to play this game ever again. So there you go. I don't really know a lot about Smash Brothers. And he was really cocky about it too, the little so-and-so. Anyway. Well, okay, there you go. So it's a stage. Okay, cool. Awesome. But I'm glad that I know that. But it's so beautiful. I love it so much. It's great. All right, let's get into it. Alphabetical order. What got you into MC Customs? And how long have you been creating customs?
It's actually the same answer for both of us, though, because we did it together. We didn't even start off doing this. It was, I think it was Magic the Gathering cards was actually what we were first going to do.
Awesome.
Yeah. But the community... But the thing about Magic the Gathering cards is single cards don't get anywhere in the community. You need to be doing a set.
Yeah, I have to
But a set of Magic the Gathering cards is like 200 cards, whereas a set in Marvel Champions is 16. I guess 21 if you count the Nemesis set.
Mm.
Yeah. So it was like we started off, we were going to do... I think we were going to do like a Nintendo Magic the Gathering thing set, and we started on that.
It was just Mario and Donkey Kong.
Yeah, and we were like, oh, this is... And we actually have somewhere there's a spreadsheet that has, like, before we gave up on it. But we did a lot of work on that. And then we started to sit down and do cards. And then I don't actually remember what made us decide to try Marvel instead. But somewhere in that process.
We were playing this game independently, going through what was there, and just casual conversation, the fact that there was a customs community for this came up. I told a few of them. Honestly, it was Imbue's cards, because he had Link, Sonic, and Cloud. And
yeah,
after playing a bunch with those, and there were plenty of others too, but those are the three those are the ones that really stuck out to me. I'm like, we could do this. It'd be a lot less work per hero than a full Magic the Gathering set, and there's the Discord for it, so we know there's a reasonable community for for even just making one or two heroes.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And
and then
was,
on top of that, the only thing that really made it work was when I poked around in there. We were like, oh, it's all these Photoshop templates and Photopea, and we started to try and delve into that. And then I found the M3CT tool that was made by Hitch,
Yep.
and which lets you generate cards off of like a JSON file. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm a programmer. I can make this work. And then I contacted him and eventually convinced him to let me contribute to that in Git. And then I just like expanded the hell out of it to let us do all the stuff we needed. And that's what we use to create. We don't use Photoshop at all.
Wow.
Except
Okay. Cool.
not mostly. Every once in a while, there's something.
every once in a while we have to do something custom, like the boxes or something.
Yeah, the boxes. The big, and one of the big ones was Fox.
Yeah.
Fox needed Photopea.
Star
Yeah,
Fox.
but most of these things we don't. We have a massive Google spreadsheet that has all our cards, all their stats and everything. So we take that, we take the images, we run, it's just an executable and it creates all the cards.
That's
Awesome.
amazing. And so that app is where it is today because of your contribution to it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was mostly there. I just added like player side schemes, subtitles to allies, and a variety of little like odds and ends that were missing.
Yeah.
In order to allow us to do everything.
Did you also create this magnificent make it a bag?
No, I
functionality?
found that. No, the make it a bag I found somewhere, and this is just the same card resizer from Hitch's table. I just changed the art.
Oh yeah, nice. I saw that, but no, the make it a bag thing is just it's amazing. Ruvyn actually introduced me to it the other day when we were playing the game, and wow, so cool.
Yeah,
very very cool. Oh well, there. So okay, so you don't use Photopea unless when you absolutely have to, and you prefer the app. You use the app version instead. Cool. Now,
yeah, I think we started in January of 23.
Right. Okay. Cool. So you started. So you joined the community. How long ago did you join the community?
It would have been right about then, January 23.
Okay. Cool. And did you did you lurk a bit first, or did you come straight into it and start making your stuff?
I don't recall.
Well, I mean, technically we were grabbing some stuff first, right? But I don't know if we did it through the Discord to start with. I think it was just grabbing things out of the workshop. And then we're like, oh, this Hitches table, which we'd been using to play by ourselves, right, for a long time, before we did any custom stuff or used custom stuff, we were still using Hitches table, because you have to.
Yep.
And so, like, from there, we got to the Discord, and I don't know the exact order of things early on, but
so I think we must have. So I think we had, like, we couldn't have done anything before we were in the Discord, because even as far back as Mega Man, it was using Hitch's program, and that was all you through the Discord.
Yeah. But then you just like you made your creations now. Likewise, what was the first creation that you made?
That was Mega Man.
Mega Man. Okay, cool. And so then, was that your introduction to the community in the Discord? You posted Mega Man, and then the journey started from there.
I feel like we were already playing and making comments on other people's stuff before we posted anything of ours.
I think so too.
Awesome. Cool. Love it. Great. All right. It's obviously a much love for the Nintendo old school gaming type properties, which is great. It's a very cool niche that the community does. That's really been embraced, and there's some other creators that also do those sort of properties as well. Do you both have like a really a gaming background Do you remember your first consoles?
Absolutely. My first console was an NES that I got for Christmas when I was 5.
That's so cool. Did it come with a light gun? And Duck Hunt? Was that the package?
It was with Mario and Duck Hunt, and also Tetris.
The classic.
Though Tetris was a separate cartridge. It wasn't the triple cartridge. I remember it being 2 separate cartridges. But I had.
Honestly, I think my backstory is just the same. Conoco rather than Christmas, but I think but it was an NES with that, and I think it was also when I was 5 or just about that age.
Awesome. That is so cool. Love it. All right, so let's dive into your work. There is some really cool stuff here. I want to dive into it as much as possible. So your very first character, Mega Man. Let's dive into it. And what I really like to do when we talk about these creations and stuff is the process. So the whys and wherefores. What is this? Oh, look at that! There's a little bitty Mega Man.
So the little mini Mega Man is there because before I photoshopped this box for him, I just found the Mega Man figure on someone that someone else had uploaded, and brought it to make it a back.
That's so cool. God, the awesomeness just drips off this stuff. It's unbelievably awesome. All right, so so like I was saying, so the whys and wherefores and stuff, and what I really am interested in, because you guys are kind of unique, right? In that you're a creative partnership. So how much of Diellan, how much of Ruvyn is each in one? I'm gonna just throw a whole bunch of questions at you, and so hopefully this sort of works organically. So, how much of each creator is in each creation? How do you decide which character to do? And then how do you sort of collaborate and sort of actually make it work in the end, from creation to testing? Let's start with Mega Man.
The answer is actually the same for most of these, and I would say, maybe he doesn't agree with me, but the initial impetus for almost every character we have starts with Ruvyn.
I would honestly say so many of these characters get their start with me sending a text to Diellan at 2 a.m. or later of, here's a pitch. This character has this core mechanic. And then I go.
We start off with a mechanic in mind. It's so and so does this thing. So it's like, okay, Mega Man, what he needs to have is the ability to take powers from something. From he beats up minions and gets their powers. How do we make that work? Okay. And then I'll be like, okay, and I'll shoot some ideas, and then we start brainstorming. Oftentimes it comes with a I think this guy is going to be, ally focused or upgrade focused or something, like some other theme to it. Usually he'll come up with a couple card ideas as well, and be like, oh, this person has, he's going to have Rush and he's going to have Roll, and I want him to have Dr. Light, and then he's just going to be a bunch of events or something. That's like his. That kind of thing, and then we kind of iterate on that. Later we had the spreadsheet going, and so that it all gets put into the spreadsheets, and we use that as a framework.
Now, Mega Man specifically, partially because he was our first, and partially because he wound up being so unique, even as the first, we talked a lot and went back and forth a lot about what his specific ability would be. Because at first, I just wanted him to be able to steal the power of any minion. And they're just... we just did not find good ways for that.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually we wound up on him coming with his own minions. And they had to get retooled multiple times.
Yeah. He actually went through a lot of iterations just because... How does he... how do the minions come into play? How often should they come into play? Once we started playing it, the minions wound up being too overwhelming to the actual scenario, so we had to like cut things back. When he defeats them, what happens? Does he get an upgrade? Like we were originally thinking, oh, maybe you get the bomb man and you flip him over and you would get, the bomb weapon, right? But then how does it come into play? So we went through this whole thing, and it wasn't even the first time around, but eventually we came around this idea of, what if Mega Man was actually multiple different forms? One for each person that you defeat.
Right, okay.
And that's what we eventually settled on, but he did not start out that way.
And each of those forms have gone through like 3 iterations.
Yeah, that too. He's actually funny in that of all the ones we had, he's, I think, the one that we redid the most.
What if there's multiple of these people in the victory display? It says if Gutsman is in the victory display, change to this form. But what if Gutsman and Cutman are in the victory display?
You just get to pick.
You just get to pick. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's changing the form only if Cutman is the victory display. It still takes your form change for the turn.
Yeah, it's like Ant-Man, right? Except unlike Ant-Man, you can't just decide you want to swap between your 3 forms. You have one. There are 6 other forms that are locked. And then when you do your form change during your turn, which ones you can change into depends on which ones you've defeated.
Right, okay, cool. So that's how you control it, via the form change mechanic.
Yeah,
Very
we've
cool.
done it a bunch of different things. We were like, oh, maybe they have like when this is in the victory display, Mega Man gains this ability or gains this stat. I think that's how we started with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just like too much of, well, he defeats 6 guys and becomes a god. Like,
well, he is Mega Man.
And it was just like, yeah. I mean, it's Mega Man, and it's, but we didn't want him to be another build the suit type of character where it's like, oh, you hit the late game and he just wins.
Yeah.
We wanted it to be a lot more flexible. We didn't want him to feel useless before he has multiple of them out, so the balance is harder if you do it that way.
Yep.
We really wanted him to just come out because this is classic Mega Man, right? We were thinking, I mean, this is Mega Man 1, these the minions, right? Classic Mega Man doesn't even have the slide technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say
Or
my game cred. I was like, wait a minute, he doesn't have slide. What are you talking about? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or the charge shot, right? Those came in later games. But the idea was that it's Mega Man. He comes out shooting and he jumps and shoots, right? He jump and shoot man. And that's what every time that we were like, okay, what do we do? How do we make this work? We go back and go, okay, well, what is Mega Man? We want it to feel like Mega Man. He jumps and shoots. Okay, great.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Interesting. So you straight away, your very first character, hero, is a multi-hero ability, changing forms.
Yeah.
That's pretty complex for your first go.
Yes.
I mean, that fascinates me. So it's and so the process. So yeah, so it's basically it's exactly how I imagined it. So well, except for Ruvyn being the one that suggested it. So it's like the midnight bitch. This is the character. It does this. That you work out, and so you work from mechanic to theme, not the other way around. And then it's basically just a whole bunch of back and forth.
The thing is, even when we know a general theme, and some characters, because a lot of characters do have a strong built-in theme, that doesn't mean anything. Like, you can't do anything with that until you figure out what that core mechanic for that theme is.
Exactly, I agree. Yep, I'm the same. I try and match the mechanic to the theme, and I think that's a pretty common thing I've learned through these spotlights. That a lot of people work the same way.
Yeah. I mean, literally, right now we're stuck on Mewtwo. We've talked about doing Mewtwo as a hero, but we can't come up with a mechanic for him. We're like, we know what Mewtwo's general theme is, as being the Pokemon god who hates you in specific.
Yeah.
And Psychic King, etc. But like, what does that mean as a mechanic? Is not something that nothing has grabbed our attention, so we haven't done it yet.
They're pretty complicated characters to do, right? The ones that are essentially gods. I mean, how do you tone it down so that they can hang out with Spidey? It's just not that Spidey's not a god. Don't get me wrong, I love him to death, but you know, it's a whole different power set type thing, right? And it's sometimes some creators get it right, i.e., Superman. I mean, everybody agrees that he's been done perfectly well. There's a Sentry out there as well that I think is quite well done. That's quite well balanced, but it's bloody hard. Not that bothers you guys. I mean, look at your first character. He's got 7 different forms. It's pretty amazing. I mean, he came out running, which I really love. So I'd love to see Mewtwo, your take on Mewtwo when you get it done and stuff. All right, let's talk about some of the others. I mean, so these are the released ones we're talking about here to start off with, right? So I'm just gonna.
These are the ones I have currently labeled released. Proto Man maybe should be in there. Some of them it's more we just need more eyes on them to know that they're good.
Yeah.
Or that there's still some finicky things about them.
Yeah, there still is the problem of like the video game characters just don't get as much attention in the community.
Yeah.
Even as we post them, it's like we get the same like 4 people who are super excited about it.
Yep.
And they will always weigh in, but it's just the same 4 players every time.
Isn't that interesting? That was going to be one of my questions later on, but let's address it now. Sort of, I mean, you guys are exclusively video game characters, right? I mean, I don't see any Marvel, DC stuff on here. So, is that a conscious choice, or you don't like comics? Like, what's the deal?
No, here's the thing. Every time we talked about creating a Marvel or DC character that we liked, we looked and found out 2 other people had already done it.
Yep.
And
somebody's working on it right now.
That shouldn't stop you, though. I mean, it's a long-running gag of this series that there's 12 Daredevils, and I'm even thinking of doing one myself. Like that's don't let that stop you. The fact that they're out there, everybody's got unique ideas.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to like. Partially, it feels like I'm stepping on somebody's toes. Partially, it's like I don't want to be directly compared in that way. Like if I make if I make a Nightcrawler, I don't want somebody to be directly going, oh, is it better or worse than Carmi's Nightcrawler? Is it better or worse than the official Nightcrawler now, right? And it's just like, well, can't you just tell me, is it?
I remember Carmi once the official Nightcrawler was.
Because it also took so much of his ideas. That's the BAMF resource was something he did, and exactly.
He had just finished his Nightcrawler, and he's just like, well, I put all this work, and now it's obsolete. And I understand, you can still play Carmi's Nightcrawler. Maybe you like it better, but there's the official Nightcrawler right there, so it's sort of an extra hurdle to play Carmi's.
Yeah, when we first started doing this, we weren't even thinking, we're going to do video game characters. I mean, video game characters are what we were doing in the MTG concept. Right. But, it was more, or what are we going to do here? And I'm like, I don't know. And we just started, listing characters that we like. And I'm like, but so-and-so already has one that's really good. And I don't want to... It's partially it's just for me, of me going, I've played that one. I don't know if I'll be able to make that character without it being... either an homage to or intentionally different. I'll have restricted myself of going, I can't use this concept because they did it, and and then I'll be it's kind of like going, I'm gonna play I'm about to go play in Of Mice and Men. I will refuse to watch the movie because I don't want it to color my portrayal of this character. Right? It's the same kind of thing. I want to be able to approach this character and do it my way. But I've already seen this other one. Yeah. And we ran into that with Mario, right? Because there is a Super Mario that somebody else did, and their Super Mario was good, but it's completely different than our Super Mario. And every time that we were working and coming up with ideas, I was like, what did he do in that one? And Ruvyn is like, no, don't go look at that. Yeah. We don't want to. Don't let that influence what we're doing here. So it's just a lot easier that way. Yeah. I don't have to worry about things, though it does have the problem of I don't get a lot of eyes on it. It's hard to get it recommended for the community thing, etc. It does feel a little like redheaded stepchild sometimes in the community.
Yeah,
and sometimes I'll hear people talking about the fact that they played our character and loved it, and it's just like, oh, you never said anything. You never saw a comment, never saw a review.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting how that works. Is the natural aversion to it. I mean, I on one side I get it. I mean, it is called Marvel Champions. It's not called Mario Champions. But the IP has been proven time and time again to be strong enough to support different universes and worlds and properties and all that sort of stuff. So
there's a lot of different ones out there.
Yeah, it works. But I mean, but you guys, I mean, if you just want to take it from here, I'm also not. I'll be brutally honest. I'm not a big fan of video game type iterations in this game. But every one of yours that I've seen, that's because I'm not sort of anti it. I guess racist is not really the right word, but I'm sort of biased. I guess, right? I'm biased more to the comic stuff. But every one of yours that I've seen or played, I've enjoyed, and you guys have created a pretty unique niche for yourself where you, and as far as I'm concerned, you guys are the go-to for this sort of stuff. If I suddenly woke up one morning thinking, well, I really want to play Star Fox today, I would automatically look to see if you had one, and then I would play your one. I think that's pretty impressive. I mean, to me, you guys are the video game people, and that's considering the other creators that are in this community that have also done this sort of stuff, like that's the Sonic properties and all that sort of stuff. It's pretty wide ranging, but you guys are the video game guys, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out, if you're saying that though, to Unicorn and Kagahan, who just did so much League of Legends.
Yeah, League of Legends. Yeah, I don't consider that a video game.
But the dedicated video game table, has gotta have like 20 to 25 League of Legends characters and a number of League of Legends scenarios.
Yeah, to be fair, I actually wasn't even considering them when I was saying that spiel, even though I love them dearly, and I've had spotlights with them, and they do amazing work. I was actually more thinking sort of more of the arcadey type stuff that you guys do, but I do what you say. And I want to tell you guys a story. I don't know how you're going to take this, but I'll let you know. I've actually played Bowser scenario on my stream a fair while ago, and my workmate, and I enjoyed it. I had fun. And my workmate has a work colleague of mine has 2 young boys, and they actually watched that episode. It's the only episode of mine I've ever done that they've ever watched, and they only watched it because it was Bowser, because it was a video game that they play, that they know and they recognize, and they loved it. So to get it, getting the attention of 2 young boys is amazing enough. Unless you're Bluey, which I guess I don't know if you guys know that property, but it's just
we're not doing Bluey.
Yeah, don't do Bluey, but just to get that sort of feedback, they loved it. They thought it was awesome. So you've got fans. You've got fans out there. Take that as a win. So what would be your favorite creations that you've made yourself? Let's spotlight some of the stuff that you want to spotlight.
Ooh, okay. The favorite things, I really like Base, who is in beta. Primarily because he is built around a unique way of working with allies.
Okay.
So, him being part of the Mega Man cycle means just like everybody, Mega Man and X and Base, they're all about like having a bunch of different abilities that they get from minions.
Mm-hmm.
And in his case, the minions are his allies. So you see his deck is full of allies.
Yep.
And each one of those has a response. Mm-hmm. Generally is about after they enter play, right? So after he enter plays, do this. After he enter plays, does that.
Yep.
Base's ability, Stolen Power, is discard an ally you control
Android
to ready yourself and get a bonus to stats. Ooh. So he's kind of like a built-in repurpose, but he repurposes his own allies, which means you're not using the allies to chump block.
They are specifically not
Yeah.
allowed. His other
Yeah, in
ability,
fact, he's specifically not allowed.
Yeah, allies you control cannot defend. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So,
and
like,
stolen
the...
powers also triggers the allies enter play response again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you repurpose
So
and
his
then you trigger.
whole thing...
Okay.
Yeah, his whole thing is to just play allies to throw them away. Over and over and over again.
Wow.
Which is... I think it's really cool. He's one we went through, again, multiple iterations on before coming up with this concept.
This original is so different, I left it on the table over in the miscellaneous area because it's basically a different character. It's not a character I think is good, but it's basically a different character.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And just given our viewpoint on allies, we very much believe that leadership is broken and chump blocking with allies is too powerful. So having a way to do... You can even do a leadership deck with him, and it just has to be different than any other leadership deck, because your allies can never block.
Yeah,
you can never do
it
the
doesn't
thing.
specify his signature allies. It just says allies, which is
Allies, yeah.
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, even aspect allies.
Yeah.
But that's also like his ability is intended to work with anything that has an interplay effect. So, and there's plenty of allies that have interplay effects.
Yeah.
Especially if I search this pile right here.
Oh yeah,
Ringman.
we added a bunch of...
Oh, so you did a bunch of extra ones. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we created a bunch of ones just for him to use.
Plus, he could also... I mean, his ability says Android allies, so you could do...
yeah, there's
Vision,
not a lot of those that have interplay effects.
Vision
but...
and Jacosta and Vic Mancha and... What's Vision's daughter's name?
Vivian. And
Vivian,
she has an interplay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
See, cool. Wow.
Yeah, so in terms of just like somebody I think of, oh, what is something I'm proud of? I like base.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Very, very unique and interesting way of playing.
You can include Android allies from Elliot aspect in your deck, of course. Goes without saying, you got that stuff. Yeah, very cool. I like him. I'm going to add him to my queue. Cool. What's the mind? What's the mind do? Before we move on to you, Ruvyn, sorry. What's the mind do?
The Pirate Man.
Ah, okay. I love it. He's the mind taken. Love it. All right. Ruvyn, the other one.
Mine, though I would call him my favorite as a whole set. My favorite as the core mechanic is Bowser.
Nice.
The whole purpose of Bowser as a hero was the concept of Bowser. What is Bowser's core identity? Is he a big fire-breathing dragon, turtle? Sure. But ultimately, he's the villain. He is the villain of video game.
Is he officially a dragon turtle? Is that basically what he is?
Yeah.
He's a Koopa.
He's a Koopa, and all Koopas are all dragon turtles, are they? Okay, I'm learning stuff.
So, his ability is called Classic Villain.
Yep. Love it.
After revealing your counter card, you search your hand, deck, and discard pile for a Bowser card with a matching title or subtitle.
Yeah, I've got to show these.
And play it without playing its cost.
Yep.
So his deck includes Advance, Assault, Caught Off Guard, Gang Up, Exhaustion, Under Fire, and Master Plan.
Love it.
As well as his ally, Shadow Mario, aka Shadow of the Past.
Yeah. That is so pretty. I love this so much. The Shadow of the Past picture is just amazing.
The subtitle rule just allows him to work with Standard 2.
Yeah.
Not that we ever really play with Standard 2, but...
But you never know. Someone might. So, it's good that you got it. Somebody who doesn't understand that they should be playing Standard 3 at all times might do it. Who knows?
I love Standard 3 so much.
It's so cool.
Standard
How it should be from the start.
Is why I added this card here.
Okay.
So
Treat Dark Designs as advanced and so okay. Yeah, okay. So you're not going to make special alt versions that include those ones instead of doing this?
I very well might. It's just that takes time, and this took 2 minutes.
Do it, please. That's a personal request. That'd be great. Yeah, I actually saw Bowser in action the other day, and where I met Ruvyn for the first time, and damn, it's awesome. It's so cool. Loved it.
Yeah, the best Bowser build accidentally is a leadership build.
The one where you purposefully milled yourself out. Yeah.
One of the cards in his deck, Bowser's Cast,
Yeah.
is when your deck runs out of cards, you place a villainy counter here.
Yeah.
And you get +1 for each villainy counter here.
Yeah.
This is to represent how when the villain deck runs out of cards, they get an acceleration token, which gives them +1 scheme every turn.
Love it.
So when he runs out of cards, he gets a token that potentially gives him +1 thwart every turn.
Yeah.
So, I ran 3 copies of Digging Deep, White Fox,
yep,
and Call for Aid, which discards cards from your deck until you discard an Avenger. And I just didn't run any Avengers, so I'd discard my entire deck, get an extra encounter, and take this card up by 1. And then that extra encounter would have a chance of triggering Bowser's ability.
Yeah.
So
cool.
ridiculous.
It's so cool.
Funny as hell.
Yeah. It's so creative. It was a blast to watch it happen. I was just sitting back, just like this is great stuff. This is great stuff. Good old Bowser. So, how did you? I got 2 questions based on everything you guys just said. Question number 1: how did you come up with this? Like, what was the eureka moment where you're like, well, this is how it should work?
Bowser just had to be the villain. The question for Bowser is, what is playing Bowser like? And the answer is, you have to feel like you're playing as the villain. And so I just wanted to bring in as many core villain mechanics as I could. And what is every villain doing? Well, they've got standard. At least at the time, they had standard. And they had standard too if you were weird.
Okay. There's no judgment here. No judgment to the listeners. There's no judgment. You want to play standard 2, go for your life. But a standard 3 is what you should be doing.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like, I'm looking back at our Discord history, and it's just him saying, idea from the shower. Bowser, classic villainy, assault, advanced, master plan, shadow of the past, allies, just shatter Mario, exhaustion, stun the villain, etc., etc. Like, that was, he already had this idea, random. That is how it started.
That's brilliant.
Even as a 1-3-3, which he still is. That's funny. Yeah. So much of this is just his original initial idea, and then me going, funny concept. And then we went and filled out the thing, which is, it's very emblematic of how this works. Like, Adam will come up with some weird idea. He's like, oh, so-and-so, this is how I want him to work. And I'm like, okay, let's make that work. And then we go through the cards.
And I think this is why you had to add player side schemes to the program.
Yeah, okay. So was it
for him?
Has there ever been a disagreement?
Oh yeah.
We disagree all the time about various things. We've been fighting about
today about the surge, whether or not environments should surge in Dr. Wiley's campaign.
Okay, cool. All right. And who won in the end?
Well, we haven't changed it, so that means he wins so far.
Okay, all right. You're graciously letting that go. I love it. Okay.
We've been arguing back and forth about Pikachu enough that I moved him out of released characters and back over to beta.
Yeah.
I thought he was good, and Dylan insists there's still more work to do.
Okay. I love it. Does it ever get nasty?
No.
That's good.
No, I don't think so. No.
That's good. No.
That's the thing with us being friends for so long.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is just, like, it is still just us gaming, game designing. Nobody has any real, like, skin in the game here. It's not like, we're doing this mostly for the 2 of us.
Gotcha.
Like, we share everything in the community, and we do all the stuff there, but it's like, I don't know. Like, mostly it's stuff that we would like to play.
Yeah.
And we just, want to share it with other people.
I want to see if I can make it work. it's a puzzle. It's when you've got one of these characters and you're like, okay, this is what I feel like they should be doing. How do we make it work?
I love that philosophy so much. It's a puzzle that you just want to make it work. It's so good.
And some of these characters are straightforward and smooth.
Yeah.
Fox has a lot of moving parts, but ultimately, he's just exactly what we wanted him to be.
Yeah, Fox like just came and finished like really smooth and quick.
Fox is basically just an alternate Ant-Man in that he's got multiple hero forms, and his cards care about which of the hero forms you are. Yeah. Obviously, he has an entirely different set of cards and abilities, but the core concept is just Ant-Man. You go between on foot, R-Wing,
plane,
and Landmaster. And special shout out to Man 3 here for making these large sideway template specifically so I could do this.
It's awesome.
He later released it to other people, but he made it because I asked for it, and he held it, and I asked him to keep it under wraps until I was ready to reveal Fox.
Yep. Love it. No, Man 3 is an absolute legend. And I love that you said Man 3 instead of Manny, which is what it's supposed to be. I've told him to his face that it'll always be Man 3 in my heart. So, he's absolutely great.
Never corrected us.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. Maybe I'm the only one who's ever actually
resigned.
asked him. It was in one of the spotlights, and I was like, "What exactly is it? How do you pronounce it?" The same as I did for you guys, and he was like, "Well, it's actually Man-E," and I was like, "No, not anymore." So, it's Man 3. Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, it's Fox is. I've seen Fox in action as well. It's very, very fun. Love it.
So yeah, Fox's concept just. Even though there's a lot of moving parts, it was a straightforward concept that just worked.
Yeah.
On the opposite scale, there's Samus,
all right,
who we redid the most, I want to say, out of anybody.
All right, let's move Bowser out of the way.
Samus is also like my one of my favorites.
Samus is
it's tied right up there with Base.
So so as Dylan said, as we've said, many of these characters come from my own shower or 2 a.m. ramblings as, my mind is wandering. Samus is Dylan from the start.
Yeah.
Samus is Dylan wanted to do Samus.
And it needed to be a Metroidvania. I needed it to actually be you playing Metroid.
Love it. So it's got the environments.
Yeah, so she is a build the suit type of character who starts off weak and becomes OP and by the in the late game. But the way that you build your suit is abnormal. And so we came up with these various environments that you start in play that you have to resolve in order to find gear. And each one of those has a different completion mechanic. And we went through this multiple times. She first started off as they started off as player side schemes or something. And I realized that just made her too good in Justice.
Oh.
So eventually I came up with this other thing, and I was like, well, I want it to be good in any aspect. I don't want you to be pushed into a specific aspect to deal with these. So each one of these has a way to resolve them that's generally best in a specific aspect, right? Like attacking and defeating an enemy versus defending and taking no damage versus removing the last threat from a scheme. Like those are the 3 different stuff. But then on top of that, you just have a generic way to resolve anything by giving yourself an encounter card. So no matter what, you can always progress. And then, as you resolve these, you'll eventually flip them, and on the other side is some upgrade, like space jump, or...
She also has On the Hunt, which is search the encounter deck for a minion side scheme and reveal it. Place a progress counter on an obstacle.
Yeah.
And once you're complete, instead just draw 3 cards.
Yeah. So she starts off really kind of mediocre, and you're making the game harder somewhat, in order to try and progress,
Mhm.
but the
What?
reward for it is eventually she's, so the intention was that the person I was most trying to compare her to for gameplay loops was Ironheart.
Yeah.
The
So
one thing
when
I
I was
remember specifically from testing, us mapping out Iron over multiple games to figure out
yes,
what turns she hit what forms in a normal scenario, and then adjusting Samus's numbers to try and match that as close as possible.
yeah, I had a thing of like tracking out, okay, in which turn did I have how many counters, which turn did I reach which form, etc. To just because Ironheart is, at least in my experience, once Ironheart is fully set up, she wins the game.
Yeah.
So it's like anything that takes more time than Ironheart just probably is not worth it.
Okay. And what was that
Because
calculation? When does she win the game? What round
I think
usually?
it's
I
like turn
don't
one.
have it anymore.
Oh.
But
I think it was,
because
I
once
think it was
Ironheart's in her last form, she just does like free damage every round and free readies, and like she just destroys the board.
Yep.
So I don't remember how many turns, but it wasn't that. It was what
I
surprised
think
me
it
the
was,
most was that I think I
I
was
think
able to
it was
hit turn. I think five turns.
no, I think it was
It was
9.
9. I don't remember.
So between 5
But
and
I think
9, and she's done it.
yeah,
So when does Samus do it?
Samus does it a little earlier. It's like one turn earlier or something, but it's not much.
it's not as strong.
Yeah, she's not as strong. She like we actually changed it and made her less strong than Ironheart. She's still really strong. She's got a lot of tools.
Yeah.
For Samus, it's like you're because like at the worst case scenario is you get a progress counter once a turn. That's assuming you do nothing else, right? And each one of these takes 3, so it's like it's 15 the hard way. But then she's got multiple ways to put progress counters on it, and I think the best I can do is getting her mostly done by turn 5. Because if you do a lot of work, you can actually knock a bunch of these off, but it varies. It's been a while. That's more memory issue
Okay.
of just we took a big hiatus from Marvel for like 6 months, and only
Right.
just came back a month ago.
Okay. She's amazing. Absolutely love the concept. It's it's awesome. The fact that you actually are going through the environment like you do in the game itself is an amazing translation of what you're actually meant to do in order to get to it, and that's what you do in the game, right? It's just
Yeah,
awesome
that was
stuff.
the idea.
Yeah.
Also, like different things help the other ones. So like you try to get your missiles in order to kill things, and I think missiles are here, right? So like unexplored territory is, if you'll see here, it doesn't. You have to put a counter on it from your main ability. It has no way to progress it on its own, but you get rewarded with 2 cards for doing so. So it's like that's how you start off. That gets you the missiles. Now you have the missiles. It's time for you to start killing enemies, aka the unbreakable door, which is usually what you kill with missiles.
Right.
Right.
So all 5 come out, and then you decide what order you want to do them in.
Yeah, exactly.
There's an optimal order, but you decide you may want to do something else.
Oftentimes it depends on what you're doing, who you're with, right? Like sometimes you wind up just saying, "Oh, I'm going to play a protection deck," so getting rid of unbearable heat first is what happens. Or I'm playing justice, so unscalable cliffs, but unscalable cliffs is the last threat, so it depends. So on and so forth.
That's awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Very similar to a character that I did, but I went the side scheme route.
Yeah, and we that was the first iteration with side schemes, and I was just like, I don't want you to have to play justice. That just felt I get it. Justice is fine for Samus conceptually, but I didn't want players to feel forced. I didn't want them to feel bad because they weren't justice.
Well, now I feel bad because I've made them.
Well, it depends on how you solve it, right? Because there are some characters who are just good enough at thwart that you don't need to be justice.
Well, like the way I got around it was to make there's a keyword for side schemes where you can use your attack instead of your thwart, like assault.
Yeah, assault. Yeah.
Yeah. So I basically did that some of them were that instead. So
Yeah. Well, and Cable, likewise, right? Cable's Justice is not his best thing, even remotely,
right.
but he is side scheme focused,
Yes.
and wants to play a lot of player side schemes, and that's a good example of just being able to be good at dealing with player side schemes in any aspect.
Amazing.
And I just didn't want to do that with Samus because I needed her normal cards to not be good. Was the problem, right?
Yeah.
Samus is not great until she gets going. So I couldn't just be like, oh no, she's just great at thwarting always.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Which is what I did. So now I feel bad. Let's move on. It's a common thing that scenarios are harder to do than heroes. So let's talk of some of your scenarios. I want to start with Andros because that's the one that I saw the other day. Do you agree that scenarios are harder to do, and do you have more scenarios coming? And let's sort of pick into like certain ones.
So, I think scenarios are hard. I think the issue is more that scenarios are harder to make interesting than heroes.
Oh, that's an interesting take.
Because, but they're easier. But I think they're easier to balance because scenarios don't need to be as balanced in the way heroes are. I have over here Wispy Woods, which is literally a walk in the park, and two heroes next to him. I have Ganon, who is final boss sort of terrifying, and it's just fine because because you just sort of have to know going into a scenario how hard a fight it is. With heroes, you're expected to be sitting next to somebody, and while there's nothing wrong with sitting down at the table playing She-Hulk, it feels really bad when you're playing She-Hulk and the guy sitting next to you is Doctor Strange.
Why?
Because then they take over the game and you don't get to do what you want to do.
Right, I see.
Because they handle everything.
Power imbalance.
And because a power imbalance among players is much worse than a power imbalance between the players and the antagonist.
Yeah, and scenarios, it's like, yeah, so this scenario is just meant to be an easy scenario. This scenario is meant to be a hard scenario, and that's fine. People can play it how they want, bring what they want. If you're making a campaign, it's expected that they kind of scale in difficulty anyway from 1 to 5. So you have a bit more freedom there to just be like, yeah, this is just how this scenario works. What you mostly have to watch out for is that the scenario doesn't feel fake. Like, I want to say it's fake in the sense of like fake difficulty, right? It's not just like some RNG. Like Ronin, for example, is the reason everybody hates that is that there's just some RNG in there that you just die, and that's not fun.
Yeah,
people want to feel like they lost legitimately, not because 3 cards happen to show up at the same time and you just lose. And 80% of heroes just can't survive that. Sure, bad RNG happens. There are definitely scenarios where you can always just have the villain draw 2 advances in a row and he schemes out and you just lose. Like, that could always just happen. But that's what you're designing the scenario around, is to make it so that the RNG is there, but it feels fair.
Yeah, I agree. My problem with Ronin is not necessarily that it's hard, but it's basically what you said, right? If you get the 3-card fanaticism combo, then that's the end of the game. But also, if you don't get the 3-card fanaticism combo and you do win, it doesn't feel satisfying. Because it's like, well, I only won because fanaticism didn't come by it, and it's just boring and horrible. That's why balancing of scenarios is actually can be quite difficult sometimes, because of that very thing. You want it to be interesting, but you also want it to be challenged, a challenge in the right sort of level of challenge, and then because you can change it yourself, the player can change it by adding and subtracting modulars, right? I mean, I I made a scenario where it was actually I thought was actually quite fair, and then during one of the play testings I had, you can randomize the modulars, and the two modulars were Sinister Six and Masters of Evil, and it's like, well, now the game's over. I'm not. There's no way I'm beating this. It's just it really depends on. That's what makes the balancing so difficult, I think.
The other issue with scenarios is that it's a lot less of an issue if a hero trumps a specific, just turns a specific villain into a trump, than if a villain completely invalidates a certain hero.
Yeah.
Or has ways that just stop that hero can't deal with. For example, the biggest issue with Collector isn't just that he's particularly powerful. It's that if you're playing someone like Black Widow or an ally deck, you just can't overcome his tactic. And probably the most hated card in the game is the Goblin Glider, because you have to have an attack of 3 cost or more, and some decks just don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. That's one of the feedback I had for one of my scenarios as well, was it essentially shuts down Iron Man, and so no Iron Man player is ever going to play it. And I get that. You don't want that. You don't want the player to feel bad. We're all meant to be doing this for fun and stuff. So
right, you want the player to feel terrified.
So is that what the point of Andros was? I mean, this dude eats planets. What's that about?
Well, the big reason Andros is in beta and not released is because he needs more testing to get just that, to figure out what his actual danger level is.
Right.
And make sure that he's reliably putting the herd on. And that's just a question of more testing and number tweaking.
And was the game the other day of use to you? Did you get some good data?
Like the other day, he didn't get a single planet. He
didn't. Isn't that interesting?
Which means maybe he's not trying hard enough.
Or maybe we were just that good. I mean, you did take.
No, that can't be it.
You did use Bowser. He's making it personal. You did have Bowser, didn't you? I mean, you were. I mean, one person had Star Fox, one person had Bowser. They are pretty devastating. they kicked a lot of butt.
But there's 6 planets, and he doesn't win until he gets all 6.
Yeah, he didn't get a single one. The only reason he got close is because I was being a bad co-player, and I was just like, yeah, you can put damage on the planet, I don't care.
Now, there's also the sizable difference in play between standard and expert,
that's
in
true.
general.
That's a good point. All right, well then, back to you guys then. What is your favorite scenario and why?
Scenario that we've made?
Yes, that you've made.
I want to say it's Bowser.
Yeah, it's also Bowser. I love this guy so much.
The Bowser scenario is really good.
Yeah.
And that makes me sad because we've been working forever on this whole entire Dr. Wily campaign. We actually just did another playthrough of that, and because we're tweaking it.
I like all the
Bowser's so good.
But the whole concept of the castle deck.
Yeah.
And
it's cool.
The fact that Bowser's second, because of the castle deck, and because you have to go through so much to get there, you expect that the heroes will be fully set up by the time Bowser shows up.
Yeah.
So Bowser's numbers gets to just be insane. He's got 4 attack, retaliate 2, and stalwart, even on standard. And on expert, that becomes 5 attack. And it's just not a huge issue, or rather, no bigger an issue than it should be.
Yeah, that's still a bit of a shock to the system. I got to tell you, when I got to the end, I was like, 5 attack. What the? what's going on here? So yeah, it's still a bit of a shock.
But he's also got but he's also got an bonus because he's got the unstable bridge.
Yeah,
because that's how you do it in
the game.
just
jump over him and grab the axe and he dies.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing about the Bowser scenario is how often sometimes the player will say, "Oh, okay, let's just grab the axe, we win." And sometimes the player will say, "No, that's cheating. Let's fight him."
Right. All right,
and they'll want to take it down the hard way.
This is where it becomes a bit personal. I'm going to preface this with a question: is feedback is very important. How much stock do you put into feedback? And the second part of that is like I said, I've played the scenario on stream, and my feedback at the end was it was too easy to beat him because I just grabbed the axe and the unstable bridge then, and he was down. And you guys responded with, well, that's how it works in the game. And I didn't know that. I was not a gamer. I was not a Mario fan growing up, right? Mario didn't really do it for me at all, right? I was more into like the fighting games. And so it sort of blew my mind. I was like, well, this goes back to the argument of theme versus mechanic, right? So this is it's a two-part thing. So feedback, how much stock do you put into it? And what do you do to balance theme, i.e. this, and mechanics?
I would say, I mean, we don't get enough feedback. That should clarify our position on feedback.
Right.
We want more. We're not getting enough.
Gotcha.
I listen to everything that I have seen when I see it. I know Adam actually browses more of the Discord than I do. So he tends to run more into feedback that is not like directly in our threads,
right?
Just through like conversations. And we listen to everything. I can't say we've ever. I think the only things that immediately come to mind of us going like, your feedback is noted, but you're wrong. Is like. I think it's that exact example, right?
Okay.
Of people going, Bowser is too easy to kill because you can do the axe, and and we're just kind of like, yeah, we know.
And don't do the axe.
Was the response I got.
That is
we're
intentional.
Like, yes, thanks.
Yes, defeating him the hard way is an optional challenge. You can always, you can always just run through him, take the damage, and grab the axe. That is the standard way of which people beat Bowser.
Right.
If you want to shoot him a bunch with fireballs and then kill him, you can. That is technically possible.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. Because the idea is that for him it's the slog, right? The whole getting to him is the actual adventure, and then the fight is not actually important.
And that's great.
And then the other time is like very recently testing out Lucario, where somebody was just like, yeah, I didn't like this whole mechanic. And I was like, well, you were playing the pool aspect.
Oh, no!
And you had a healing.
Don't do
and
that,
you had a
people.
regeneration, and Lucario was meant to play at low health.
Yeah.
Of course it doesn't work for you. I don't know what to say.
Right. Well,
that's like it. Outside of that, like everything. I know that Carmi might be like cringing if he hears me talking about this, because I know he and I have argued for ages about stuff of our characters.
Right.
There are people who were just, our play styles don't match, but I still value the feedback, even if I don't necessarily agree with it.
There is one piece of feedback that I have Wiley's masterpiece, full campaign, totally playable, has actually gotten a decent amount of feedback.
Yes, thank God.
There is, and we've made a lot of modifications. It's currently labeled as second edition because of how many modifications we've made. But there is one piece of feedback that I always take with a grain of salt, and that is people telling me that expert is too hard. Because Diellan and I always test on expert, and
we only play expert, basically.
Yeah, we basically only play expert.
So standard 3 and expert.
For the Wiley campaign, we have not been doing it in standard 3.
Oh, okay.
We've just been doing standard 1 expert,
right.
I think. I've tried to push it for standard 3 every time, but
you guys are hardcore.
Standard 1 standard 3 special cards. So often they'll say that it's too hard overall, and we'll play and we'll win, and I'll be like, well, it was a challenge, but we succeeded. So I don't know how to call this too hard overall. And we played through as multiple characters. We did a run through with Magneto and Rogue. We just did a run through with Domino and Spider-Woman, with special guest sidekick Carol Danvers. And I'm not saying Domino's not strong, but
Domino was really strong.
Domino is S tier.
But we
Let's
got
be
through
honest
it
here.
Yeah,
Come on now.
Domino was so overpowered. I forgot how strong she was.
Domino, Doctor Strange, Spider-Ham. Don't use any of those three to play test with. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And never use the pool aspect. Come on.
Yeah. The pool aspect. Come on. No.
Have you seen our pool aspect?
I haven't seen yours, but I'm loading the campaign. But your pool aspect is what? Waluigi, yeah? Waluigi?
And Wario. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just reskinned the entire pool aspect for the video game table.
Oh.
And it's all Wario,
I love it.
Luigi.
I love it in concept, but I hate the pool aspect so much that I don't even want to look at it.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
I love the fact that you did it and you took the time and that you called it Wa, which is awesome. He's the character I play.
That's safe.
What's that? What was that?
Mission 5 stays secret.
Oh, well, it's black. I can't see it.
That's intentional.
Okay, that's fine. So what else is in here? What am I missing here? This one. This one. I'll do it.
Yeah, there's various modulars.
I'll do it this way.
And
Yeah,
that was not what I wanted.
Yeah, Fantasy Flight just did the same thing actually in their newest box, where the second one has where the final mission they kept hidden.
Mm.
Now, of course, as soon as one person plays it, everybody knows what it is.
Yeah.
But
my campaign that I recently did was the fifth mission was of course meant to be secret, but then I stupidly streamed me playtesting it, and it's like, well, the cat's out of the bag now. So it was ruined. I ruined it myself. Doxed myself.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I have not seen that stream.
Oh, okay, cool. That's good. I think you'd like it. Reward X. When an enemy or scheme with reward is defeated as a forced response, the player who defeated it finds the named card from the set-aside area and puts that card into their hand. If the enemy was defeated by a non-player effect, the first player performs this action. Cool. I like that. Scenario 1, Mecha Dragon. Very cool. So what's the theme behind this? Wily. Am I meant to know who Wily is? Who's Wily?
He's the main villain of the Mega Man franchise.
Oh, there you go. I should have known that. For shame.
So this is entirely a Mega Man campaign.
Yep.
It is specifically based on Mega Man 2.
As with any Fantasy Flight campaign, 2 heroes come in the box.
Nice. Love it. Very cool. Proto Man.
It takes aspects from all the Mega Man games, but leans most heavily on Mega Man 2 in that's what it features the 8 robot masters from Mega Man 2.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Woodman.
In Mission.
Quickman. Flashman. That's
and you'll see each one has reward in their text. That's that keyword that we came up with.
Oh, yep, reward.
So when you defeat them, you add. So there's the master weapons up here are the things that you get. Yep. So like if you defeat Metal Man, you add Metal Blade to your deck for the rest of the campaign.
That's so cool.
And
that's an awesome way of doing the campaign
these
upgrades.
Rewards.
That's great.
Yeah. So instead of there being like generic campaign upgrades, we did this, and then you get like each mission that's the Mecha Dragon, but to get to the Mecha Dragon, you have to fight 2 robot masters along. And if you're an expert, they're randomly selected which ones you do. If it's standard, you get to pick.
Right. Okay.
And then mission.
So each mission will be slightly different every time you play, because the robot masters have their own encounter decks that all get shuffled together.
Yeah. And what was the balancing like for this? Like, how did you balance this? Because it's randomized. And you don't, which one do you get? So, what if I get Air Shooter before Metal Blade? I mean, jeez.
A lot of playtesting.
Gotcha.
And trying to make sure that the robot masters are more or less equivalent in power. And this has taken a lot of work, because they also have to be interesting but similar.
Yep.
Right? Like it needs to be. They all have the same mechanic, which is when they all have a forced response based on when they attack.
Yep.
Some of them are when they attack and damage. Some of them are just when they attack. Some of them are the way they attack and damage, and some of them are when they attack and turn a face down boost card with no boost icon.
Yeah, but they all have something related to when they attack. Their stats are, fairly similar. They all have the same HP, right? So that's like one of our rules was to give. We didn't start off with them having the same HP, but at the end we're like they all should, because that kind of determines how long a mission takes, and we want it to not matter.
Was this set created before or after the Sinister Six scenario came out?
Yes.
Good answer.
I'm pretty sure we started on it before, and then it came out during.
Right.
There's been multiple things, and we keep every time that there's a new scenario that has multiple villains, we look at how they're doing it.
Gotcha.
There's very little overlap with the Sinister Six.
Yes, Sinister Six in particular. No.
Mission 4 plays a bit similarly to the Four Horsemen mission.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So in Mission 1 and 2, you fight... So in Mission 1, you fight 2 Robot Masters, and then you fight the Mecha Dragon. In Mission 2,
and you fight them one after the other. They don't start all in play.
Okay. Yep.
So instead of them flipping to the next side, they just get defeated. So you fight one villain, then you fight the other Robot Master, and then you fight the Mecha. And Mission 2 is similar.
Okay.
You fight 2 more Robot Masters, and then the boss.
And then the Giant Metal. Mission 3, you fight 4 Robot Masters simultaneously, and like with the 4 Horsemen, after one activates, the next one. The
activation token moves to the next guy.
To the next one.
Yeah. So that's where you fight the 4 that you missed so far. You fight them all at once. And that's just the boss rush.
Right. I like that. That's cool.
Now, this book might be a bit outdated because I have not...
We literally just made changes.
We're in 2nd edition now, and I haven't checked to see if the book still
Dr. Wiley's not even Scenario 5. Should I go to page...
No.
Go to page 5?
Scenario 5 is the secret one.
I'm going to 5! I'm doing it! No.
Don't go to 5.
I've got to flip it over so there's... Oh, it's the same. I won't go to 5. So Wiley's not even the last one. It's like something that... Oh, I need to know now. I'll do it off the stream. I'll do it off the video.
Well, no. Wiley is Mission 4. Mission 5 is Wiley's masterpiece.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so Wiley's not even the last thing. It's his masterpiece, which is... I love it. If it's not evil alternate universe Mega Man, I'll be very upset. But that's fine. Love it. No spoilers. This is a cool concept. I really like this. This is...
It's not Quint. I was tempted to put Quint in, but I don't think enough people know who Quint is.
Oh, well, I don't know who that is. What was the balancing like?
Universe Mega
Man. What was the... Oh, that's the evil Mega Man, is it? Oh, there you go. See, I've learned something. This is why I do this series. I just need to learn stuff. I need to learn more stuff, expand my brain. So how difficult was it to balance the Mecha Dragon... Like, why did you decide 2 instead of 1 or 3? Like, where did you eventually get to that sort of balance again? Was it just testing?
So we had to have 8 Robot Masters.
So because there is 8, so you had to have the 8, right?
There's 8, yeah. So 8 was known.
We had to have 5 missions because all the campaigns are 5 missions.
Yep.
One of the missions had to be Wiley.
Right.
So for a while we were playing with 2-2-2-2.
Yes.
And at some point, I realized what I really wanted for the final mission. And at that point, we switched. It became 2-2-4.
Cool. Love it.
Yeah, and also the 2-2-2 thing was we didn't like it because it started to feel samey. It's really hard to come up with new ways. Like, we were trying to do a thing where each mission had its own mechanic for how the multiple villains work. And it was just like, we just kept running, like, we had ideas and we implemented them, but we weren't satisfied at any point with that. until Ruvyn came up with this thing of, oh, I'm going to do this, and then Wiley's 4, and then we're like, oh, great, so that means we can do... So the first 2 missions are the same, quote-unquote, in the sense of it's 3 villains and one after the other. But then the 3rd, 4th, and 5th missions are completely different.
Yeah. Except they play the first 2 missions play rather differently, because the first mission puts you on a timer as the Mecha Dragon attacks the city, and you have to win in a set number of turns, and
yes,
if you don't, and in the first mission, the villain can't scheme out, but anytime the main scheme would be completed, the turn counter ticks. So
okay.
So your clock runs down. Whereas in the second mission, the villains just keep throwing minions at you. So it's a much slower paced mission.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They just try to overwhelm me with numbers.
Awesome. All right. Are there any creators or / creations? You've mentioned a couple of people during the chat. Are there any sort of specifically creators or creations that have inspired you in your work?
Okay, so if we go over to this side of the table, under the miscellaneous, you can see. I don't know if you're familiar with Nugget's Pokemon Trainer.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
But I've created another alternate Pokemon Trainer for use in Leaf.
Cool.
With her own obligation.
Yeah.
And
her starting Pokemon.
The Pokemon featured in Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Charizard isn't here because he actually has a Charizard.
Okay, cool.
In his set.
Yeah.
And this is just a different Pikachu than his.
Gotcha.
Because the Pikachu in his set is designed to be sort of the random Pikachu the Pokemon trainer might catch in the wild. Whereas this is supposed to be more of a main character Pikachu.
Oh, so it's not meant to be Ash's specific Pikachu?
Well, it's the Pokemon trainer.
Yeah.
It's
not Ash.
So
it's the Pokemon trainer, yeah.
Yeah, it's Pokemon trainer.
Yeah, cool.
So this is just a bigger Pikachu.
Gotcha.
But, so yes, that inspired me there, and there are various things in Pikachu, Jigglypuff, and now even Lucario that are specifically designed to work with Nugget's Pokemon Trainer, and a few basic and aspect cards as well.
Very cool.
That keep that in mind.
So obviously Nugget's one of them. Anybody else?
Yeah. And as mentioned before, Imbue's Sonic and Link was a lot of the inspiration for why I'm doing these sorts of characters to begin with. I've got 2 Links of my own, our own. But it's also important to note that there's a lot of Links.
Yeah.
People who don't know the Zelda series think it's just, that's Link. He's this one guy.
There was a conversation in the general chat the other day about this very subject, about all the different... Somebody new to the server asked if anybody had a link, and it just started up a massive paragraph conversation about everybody's links. That's great.
Yeah, somebody wanted the Breath of the Wild link, which someone Raze was making a while ago, but they never quite finished it.
Right. I learned something that day. But I knew they were all different versions, but the amount of knowledge just that sprouted in that chat was great. It was awesome stuff. What about you, Dylan? You got anybody?
Not in terms of specific characters. I've played several. I like them. I can't say that any of them like particularly inspire what I do. Mostly because I try very hard not to. If I see something that I like, I then go, okay, that's been done, and now I can no longer do that thing.
Oh, wow.
It's not. I know it's not true, but like it's my own personal hang-up.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's not true.
I want to constantly explore. Like it's kind of the puzzle thing, right? I see that puzzle's been solved.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna come up with something different.
Right.
I want my stuff to always be different. So it's like I see them and I'm like, oh, that was cool. But I don't, let it I can't say nothing directly inspires me in that way because I'm cutting myself off.
But why?
I like to
What
play
if
the
it
other
wasn't
stuff to
cool?
get.
What if it was bad? What if somebody?
There are
So, like
things where people make something and I play it and I'm like, I could make a better version of this character.
Okay, cool. So let's
But
not
then I
name
don't
names.
do
Let's not
that
shame
because
anybody.
then I
But
feel like a jerk.
well, why? Why is that? Well, as long as you don't then post it and go, hey, XX did this version of Nightcrawler and it sucks. Here's my version. I mean, you don't do that. Obviously, you're a nice person. But it doesn't mean. But doesn't that then sort of give you the impetus? Like, okay, well, I can see where they went for this, but I would do this and then go from there. No,
It's happened. It's it's happened. That's happened recently. But these are also characters who I'm giving a lot of feedback for.
gotcha.
Like anything I play, I give feedback on, and it's like then I feel really bad.
That's great. Okay.
Like if I'm going through and I'm giving feedback and they're responsive to me,
Yep.
and they're taking my feedback, and it's just like, nah, you can have this.
I love it.
The only thing is there is one idea that came out of a different character just recently that now I'm like, oh, I want to. So I actually, in this conversation about Magus for the Chrono Trigger,
yes,
they were talking about we had a huge discussion about the character, and I like had a random idea as a replacement for how dark matter should work, and I was like, hey, this crazy idea. What do you think about this? And then I parenthesesed it with if you don't like it, I'm going to keep this and use it for a different character later.
Awesome.
And I suggested it, and they were just like, that's cool, you should use that. So I'm like, great, I don't know where I'm going to use this ability.
All right, how do we put it on Mewtwo?
Mewtwo can
Does
do
Mewtwo
anything.
do psychic zombies?
Why not? Mewtwo can do anything that they want.
It's not a main ability, though. It's not a main ability. It's just one. Like, it's not a mechanic. It's one ability. It was the. I don't know if I want to give it away now.
Well, this spotlight won't actually be posted for at least a month.
Well, I'm not going to use it anytime soon.
You got. Okay.
Like, I have to come up with.
In that case, don't say it.
Yeah, I still need a good character for it, and it's not like anything we're doing is. It's definitely a. I could use it for Mercy if we do like Overwatch characters. I did think of this. It's actually really good Mercy ability.
Didn't find somebody has actually put up a bunch of Overwatch characters that I'm gonna have to look into.
Yeah, I think it's Just a Tune.
Or the Undertale.
Just a Tune is the big Overwatch person, I think.
Yeah.
I'm correct.
Yeah. They've
Just a Tuna.
They pump that stuff out. That's crazy. Cool. It's good quality stuff. It's really good. Awesome. All right. Well, have you made any? You mentioned the Magic the Gathering cards before. Have you dipped your toe into any other custom stuff?
Pokemon. Back in the olden days of
the olden
late
days.
90s.
I used to work at a card shop in my youth, and the owner of that card shop paid off their house and put their 2 kids through college purely on the profits from Pokemon cards. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
My first custom cards were custom Pokemon cards.
That's cool.
It was an Eevee, Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon set.
Wow. Love it. Cool. You, Dylan?
Whereas I've done other stuff. We did a group of. I did custom characters for Arkham Horror once.
The card game or the board game?
The board game.
Oh,
board
cool.
game Arkham Horror.
Awesome.
That was many, many years ago, and that was to take characters from a different game that we all played, and then put them in and let my friends all play their characters in there. So I did custom characters for Arkham Horror.
Wow.
And then I do custom modding. I do custom games for Dota 2 actually.
Wow.
Ages ago. Right now I'm doing one for a group of friends, but yeah, because I am a programmer, so the stuff is fun. I like game design and whatever. So
when you say custom games for Dota, do you mean custom maps?
No, games.
Actual
Like,
mods.
yeah,
Wow.
because Dota 2 has a robust custom map. Like, it's not maps like games. You can
Yeah,
do full game rules,
that's so cool.
and that's what I do.
Awesome.
I've done like two, um,
Very cool.
but I did. Yeah, I ran for a good couple years, the horde mode there, and then ditched it to somebody else to maintain because it's a lot of work to keep it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we've both
So,
done so much custom D&D content.
oh yeah, of course.
Wow.
We do. I am. We both are GMs for our Pathfinder groups. Mostly me, and we do a lot of homebrew stuff for that.
That's so cool. Awesome. All right. Was there anything that I missed that you wanted to highlight or spotlight? For that's better.
I can't think of anything.
Ruvyn?
Not on this table.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
on that
we did
note,
say we're
let's
going to
change.
do the video games table.
All right, let's go to the video game table. We mentioned it a couple of times, and I want to show it off because it's very, very cool. So, where is it? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? I think it's. I should have. There it is. Got it. Boom. Look at this. This is. I did my enterprise sort of spin around of the last table, but I've got to do it again for this. This has got like glass top extensions, which is just amazing. I don't know how you did that. That is just awesome. But this is the video games table, so it's a fully playable table. Play mats, the take your seat, all that sort of business for video game characters universes, and it's got. Well, actually, why don't you guys give me a tour? Let's start from the top left. Let's do a tour of the table.
Well, let's start from the center because this main area
Okay.
is mostly modded off of Hitch's table.
Yes.
That uses the many of the same buttons. There's some alternate art for the playmats. For the playmats, there's a different ready button. I didn't quite put in all the buttons, but we've got the ready button and the deal and counter button.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a full card browser. But if we look into the card browser, and if we look at, let's say, well, this has leadership open. You will see that the majority of these cards have been reskinned, most of which by Unicorn with League of Legends art. Some of them by me. There's a few reskins by Blast on here.
Wow.
And there's also a number of custom aspect cards.
That is so cool.
I have, in return, cut anything that requires a Marvel-specific aspect to use, but they're all over in this bag right here, in case you do decide you want to bring an X-Man or a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent to the table.
Yeah.
And you need their stuff.
Gotcha. Wow.
Which, frankly, is just more useful anyway, because that way I can just grab all my X-Men cards at once.
Yeah. Amazing.
This mentions the trade equivalency rules, which is something that the League of Legends group put together in order to allow characters to their League of Legends characters to work with the pre-existing cards.
Mm-hmm.
So the most straightforward examples are that Android and Golem mean the same thing. So if your character is a Golem, you can still play Reboot. But then they also attach different factions to pre-existing ones Like the Asgardians are Noxus, and the X-Men are Shuri.
Mm-hmm.
There's a note for the rename at the bottom for the renamed reskins, which is that many of the characters have been reskinned into different versions of themselves, into different characters, but are still ultimately the same card.
Yep.
And then I've got mention here of some keywords that show up in the aspects on the table.
Gotcha.
We follow over here. We've got Cerebro, same as on Hitch's table. The card resizer, which is just a super mushroom instead of Pim particles. 2 different copies of Standard and Expert. The Deadpool modular set.
Boo.
Oh, boo. Fair enough. Over here, we've got an older Spotlight. This will need to be updated, but the next cycle's coming.
Yep.
Here's the button to pull out and place the
Modulars.
Yep. Which does include some new modulars in addition to the original
like Trophy Fighters 1 here.
Sexy.
Here's Metal Madness, which you'd recognize from Wily's Masterpiece.
I do recognize it.
Here's Crazy Hand.
Everybody loves Crazy Hand.
And Bowser's Army.
Very cool. So cool.
Likewise in the villains.
Likewise, here's a number of villains. I do need to inventory and see if there's more that are ready. I know Annie here was just updated by Unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
There's Blast's Eggman, Nuggets Giovanni, Master Hand was made by Ripper 3, and Dylan, I misspelled your name.
Diellan. Great. Awesome.
Diellan.
How could you do that?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Over here is some support for the Sonic characters.
Before we move on, we just got to point out these magnificent holders. The N64 cartridges is just absolutely brilliant. My God, nostalgia mania. My heart's going to explode with nostalgia over here. All right, let's move on.
Yeah. Here's some just additional basic and aspect cards for the Persona characters and the Sonic characters that haven't been fully gone through or are still in progress or were last I checked. And over here is our hero filter. I normally keep it on everything. There's a complete tag, which is only things that I have been personally told are ready, done, and will not be changed again. But if we just hit everything, we have 86 heroes on this table.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. That is amazeballs.
Ah.
There's so much it's taken ages to load.
And this is why we needed the glass extension.
Yes.
Unbelievably. So you got stuff from other
They're
video
organized
games as well.
They're organized by company. So the top here is all the Nintendo.
Oh, they're organized by company. Okay.
Then all the League of Legends. Then we've got Square Enix, which there's a bunch of Chrono Trigger characters that should be ready to get added.
To get put in here, yeah.
Yep.
This is Sega,
Persona, and Sega.
Capcom.
Where's Jill?
And then here... And then here
you're missing Jill. Where's Jill? No!
She wasn't ready last I updated, so I'm going to have to...
I'm going to make a video game character now just so I get on this table. That's it. I just want to be on the table. I'm going to do it.
Sounds good.
Go for it. Pick one. There's plenty.
And there's plenty of room.
I had an idea for Tekken. I think I might do that. I might try and work on that over the week.
I don't think we've got anybody from Tekken yet.
No, I don't think so. Not here, anyway. There might be somebody on the server.
Twisted Fate, the Card Master. Twisted Fate. I don't even know who that is.
I don't know who most of these League of Legends characters
it's LOL.
are.
Well, that explains
but
why
I've played a number of them or seen them play. There's a tree here I really like.
Yeah,
the tree?
Mokai uses growth counters like Groot does. I actually just spoke to the creator of Mokai Kogahan in the spotlight just before this one, just the other day.
Yeah, no,
It was awesome.
I remember really liking him. Diellan was having a lot of fun with Yumi down here.
Well, who doesn't love Yumi? Everybody.
We've got 2 Teemos.
Which is 2 more Teemos than anybody needs.
Are you anti-Teemo? Isn't that that's basically just a requirement of LoL now?
We've been over this. I'm a
Teemo.
Dota 2 player.
Yeah.
My coworkers play League though, so I get sucked into our weekly League games on Thursdays.
Even I know that Teemo hate is.
Well, we do have a Dota character down here by Ripper 3.
Right.
Yeah, it's Invoker. I played Invoker.
That's
Zagreus,
cool.
which I'm still waiting for the new Zagreus.
Oh, is there a new one coming out? Is there? Yeah, I've seen Zagreus get played. It's pretty interesting stuff. It's very complicated. Very cool. Well, there's a fighting character, Sub-Zero. There you go. I won't be alone. Amazing, absolutely amazing stuff. And what's this over here? We've neglected this corner over here. What's this? 12 new cards.
This corner over here. What is this corner over here?
New cards and reskins. It's the wall. No idea why there's extras here from.
And there's a marble. It's in a marble box. Outrageous.
I'll be honest. I don't remember why there's the stack of extras here. Everything in that box should be.
It's elsewhere over here.
Let's
It's stored in one place.
Let's move on. Let's pretend we didn't do that then. We'll just pretend that just.
And also the extra HP counter.
There you
over
go.
here.
It's gone. I know what you're talking about. It's gone. Awesome. All right. Is there anything on this table that we missed that you want to talk about? Oh, first player tokens. Great. Love it. Measure. Nope.
No.
Nope.
On this
I think
table.
that's
All right.
everything.
So to get on this table, once I've made my game theme, do I just reach out to you guys and say, hey? Do you like
ping Ruvyn?
and
Yep,
do you like
just
veto?
ping me.
Is there like a veto? Does like a process? Do you like play test it and like no, this is not good enough to be on the table?
Nah.
Big on.
I think he looks at it and decides if it's done enough.
I will look. Yeah. So I'm not
You
gonna.
better have an obligation.
Yeah. So it needs a box. It needs your obligation and full nemesis set, and if there's like significant formatting errors, I'm just gonna be like, dude,
Please
fix
fix
this up. But unless something jumps out at me as horribly a mess, I have not personally. There's a lot of these characters I have not personally played.
Gotcha.
I have just skimmed through them to make sure they all look okay, and all the pieces are there, and there's an insert if there needs to be an insert.
Gotcha. Cool. I'm doing very quickly. Just look to see if I actually already made a video game character that I can get on there. What's the deal? What have I got?
Bonus point you include a pre-con.
No, I don't. Okay, that's a shame. I'll get to work.
Wait, I have for some of the characters, but not everybody's got the pre-cons.
Okay, pre-cons are handy. That's true. But all right, gents. It's been a couple of hours. This is the time has flown past. I could basically keep going, but I know it's late. So let's finish up. Is there anything that we missed that you wanted to bring up?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
I don't think so. No.
I can't think of anything. It
Awesome.
feels pretty conclusive.
It's very conclusive. Everything that you need to know about Diellan and Ruvyn in this very spotlight. This has been great. This has been really, really great. I've known about you guys for a while, and we had, like I said, we had that Bowser interaction like a year ago. Yeah, thanks, mate. We already know. Anyway, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. That's all good. I was just starting out. I was nervous, but I didn't cry myself to sleep. It's all right. It's been great getting to know you guys. I really respect your Just it's like your design philosophy, like your working philosophy is the idea, and get it in there and get it tested and get it worked. And
I suppose I should mention that the one other thing about the design philosophy,
sure,
it is super helpful and important to have somebody else working there to argue with you at all times to make sure you get everything right.
yeah. That's what that's what I was going to say. I was like, it's obviously you've obviously worked out your sort of your ebb and flow of how this sort of thing works, because you said there was hardly any arguments and stuff, and so to have each other to bounce off of.
We argue all the time, but we're Jews, so that's normal.
It doesn't get violent. Is basically what we're saying.
No. That's how we converse. Our normal talk is full of arguments, and it's fine because nobody's hurt by it. It's all constructive.
I love it.
We argue things out like it's a pair of lawyers, right? We're refining and chipping away and getting to something better because we both want it to be better, and we're fine with it. And
must be
also,
so awesome.
Everybody knows D&D characters.
yeah.
It's only, I mean, it's what's created the quality content that you've got, so obviously it works. So it's
and having 2 players is great because it also means anytime we want to test something, right? We have 2 players. It's the same 2 players. We've done all these things. We know how each other plays.
Yeah.
When we're testing a scenario, we have our go-tos. We're like, oh, okay. Whenever we want to break a scenario, we have the same Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch duo that we've been running for like 2 years that can beat anything. So like, we know what we need to do, and then and you don't have to test something by yourself because the game just doesn't work in single player.
Don't tell people that. They get mad.
What a way to end the show. It's like if you're playing solo, you should feel bad.
No, it's just the solo balance is just so different than anything else. You just can't. It's like we everything we do is in, or more if we grab some other players. But like nothing we play is balanced for solo. I will say.
You have thrown out some zinners in this show, Dylan. Leadership sucks. Standard 3 is the only possible way.
I didn't say leadership sucks.
Solo sucks.
No, leadership is more powerful than the other 3, in part because the core concept of leadership is on a different axis than the core concept of the other 3. So leadership gets to do anything that the other 3 aspects can do.
Look, I've got the master recording. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna edit it so that when Dylan was saying that stuff about leadership earlier on, I'm gonna insert me saying sucks, just for the lols. And you guys know how much I hate editing. No, I'm joking. It's this would be great. I'm basically, I don't know if it's come across, but I'll just say it outright. I'm very jealous of what you guys do, and how you do it, and I wish I had access to that sort of stuff, but I don't have any friends. But it's awesome. You guys make great stuff, and I just want to throw this out to the community. I just let's get some more feedback happening for these guys' stuff. I will try my best to do some as well, and let's just give them a bit of a heads up on what's happening, what's working for them and stuff, and I just want to thank you guys for what you do. I really appreciate how you contribute to the community, and just for being awesome.
I appreciate that, but I do want to say, like, if you don't just have friends on hand, go steal some from the Discord. Master Hand here, we made with Ripper 3.
Yeah.
Falco here is mostly Carmies, but like we heavily worked together on that.
Cool.
After making Fox.
Yeah.
Captain Falcon here is Ripper 3 because like we reached out to people and suggested they work with us on the whole Super Smash Bros. Idea. So yeah, maybe you don't have someone you're always close to, but grab someone and collaborate. And if you don't kill each other, you'll have a lot of fun.
Well said. Well said, sir. I just want to point out I do actually have real world friends. that was for comedic effect. But no, the collaboration thing. I completely agree. Love it. Absolutely great. reach out. That's what the community is there for. So, in saying that, if you would like to join the community, there'll be a link to the Discord channel in the description of this video, an invite to join. If you have any inclination of making your own character and you want to sort of dip your toes into it and sort of see how it goes, by all means join, introduce yourself, and even if you just want to lurk for a bit and sort of see what's available and stuff, by all means go for it. There's no right or wrong way. And then if you have an idea and you want to get it happen, and reach out to people if you want, and they'll help you out. There's so many people there in that community that are so good at helping others, with ideas and with encouragement and or even just pointing you in the right direction of where the tools are. Take advantage of it. It's awesome. If you don't have an idea for a creation of your own and you just want to access the amazing collection of custom content that's available there, and extend Marvel Champions for years to come, then you can do that as well. It's there's so much cool stuff there. It's amazing stuff. Guys, thank you very much. I will link your content in the description as well, for anybody who wants to check out your stuff. Any final words? I'll throw the final words out to you guys. Dylan.
Just thanks for having us. This is very cool. It's nice to get recognition somewhere for all that we do. I do, yeah. Like I do. I know that people play our stuff, but they don't, share that they do so much. So it's nice to hear actual feedback, even if the feedback is just great work, which is something I guess that people aren't really big on doing in the Discord, just in general. They'll reply if they have like actual constructive criticism, but if something was just fun to play, they don't necessarily come out and do so. So it's great for that. Yeah, this was cool. That was fun to do.
Awesome. Thanks. Ruvyn?
Thank you for having us, and hi everybody, I'm on the YouTubes. Alright, that's all I got.
On that note, thank you very much. As always, the most important thing, please tell the people that you love them as much and as often as you can. And take care. Bye.